I awoke to discover that my dog had ventured beyond a boundary. Before we embark on this journey, remember to show your appreciation for this video and subscribe to the channel for a wealth of intriguing and astonishing tales ahead. The night enveloped the world in an unexpected stillness, a silence so profound it envelops you, as if you are the sole inhabitant of a world steeped in stillness. As I reclined in bed, the gentle whir of the ceiling fan mingled with the steady cadence of my husband Mark's breathing beside me. The bedroom window stood slightly ajar, inviting in a cool breeze that carried the whispered secrets of the night. Rest eluded me, not with the burden of earlier events bearing down on me as if it were a tangible weight. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Laurel. What about tonight? An event occurred that lingers in my mind, refusing to be forgotten. A sensation akin to the deepest betrayal imaginable. I cast a fleeting look at Mark, his expression serene in slumber, oblivious to the storm of emotion swirling within me. A profound ache settled in my heart, burdened by a secret I was not yet prepared to unveil, neither with him nor with anyone else. Earlier that evening, as I prepared to settle in for the night, our dog, Max, surprised me with an unexpected action. An unexpected revelation unsettled me. Max, our loyal companion, had behaved in a way that left me confused and deeply concerned. The memory lingers, a vivid tableau of shock and confusion, a whirlwind of emotions swirling around me as I stood frozen, grappling with the incomprehensible. How could something so innocent suddenly feel so unsettling? In the stillness of the night, I found myself grappling with the tumult of my thoughts. Ought I to confide in Mark? How can I articulate this without coming across as irrational? The mere anticipation of his response, the possibility of disbelief, or even more unsettling, the weight of blame, twisted my stomach in knots. Max occupied his usual spot downstairs, yet tonight, his presence carried an air of something unsettling, almost as if it were laden with unspoken judgment. The sound of his movement echoed in the stillness, nails tapping against the hardwood floor. Each click echoed through the house, reminding me of the strange event that had left me unsettled. What led to this occurrence? Could it have been my doing? Could it truly be said that Max was to blame? Or could there be another factor influencing the situation? The questions swirled within me, each one spiraling into deeper confusion and an overwhelming sense of guilt. I rolled onto my side, turning my back to Mark, my gaze lost in the depths of the darkness, a profound sense of solitude enveloping me. The stillness of the night felt like a taunt, as though it held within its depths every secret and fear I harbored. What was it that I intended to do? How can I return to the ordinary after this evening? The answers slipped through my fingers, leaving behind the haunting echo of betrayal, a quiet observer of my inner chaos. The following morning, the sunlight seemed almost unwelcome, as though it had no permission to blaze so brilliantly after the shadows I had endured. I pulled myself from the warmth of my bed, taking care not to disturb Mark, who remained ensconced in the depths of slumber. The house lay in an unsettling silence, a stillness that only served to magnify the turmoil swirling within my mind. I navigated the familiar steps of my morning routine, each movement weighed down by an invisible burden. As I filled my mug with coffee, my hand trembled just enough to let a few drops escape, splattering onto the counter. I tidied it up with a mechanical precision, my thoughts drifting, endlessly replaying the events of the previous night. Max sauntered into the kitchen, his tail a joyful banner, blissfully unaware of the unease he had stirred. I gazed at him, attempting to bridge the gap between the affectionate companion and the being that had so deeply betrayed my trust. "Greetings, my friend," I managed to utter, my tone devoid of inflection. He gently licked my hand, his eyes brimming with innocence. The day revealed itself, laden with its familiar expectations. Clayton departed for work, bestowing a fleeting kiss on my cheek, his routine steadfast, oblivious to the tempest swirling inside me. I observed him as he drove away, a palpable sense of distance unfurling between us, not merely in miles but in the depths of our emotions. With a sense of purpose, I chose to take Max for a walk, believing that the crisp air could help untangle the thoughts swirling in my mind. The neighborhood thrummed with the familiar rhythm of morning life. Children gathered at the bus stop, neighbors strolled with their dogs, and the enticing aroma of breakfast drifted lazily through the air. All appeared to be as it should, yet within me, chaos reigned. As we strolled along, my gaze fell upon Mrs. Henderson, our neighbor, grappling with her heavy bags of groceries. I extended my hand in assistance, craving the diversion it would bring. "Thank you, Laurel. You're truly a lifesaver," she remarked, her tone infused with warmth and gratitude. "No problem," I replied, mustering a smile that felt more like a mask than a gesture of warmth. As we strolled back to her home, she regaled me with tales of her day, the whims of the weather, and the mischievous antics of her cat. I nodded in agreement, yet my mind wandered, ensnared in the complexities of my own private turmoil. Upon returning home, I found myself seated at the kitchen table, my gaze fixed on my phone, wrestling with the decision of whether to reach out to my sister, Sarah. She had a knack for offering guidance. Yet this was something else entirely. This experience surpassed anything I had previously encountered. Max reclined at my feet, his large brown eyes gazing up at me with an earnestness that tugged at my heart. I let out a weary sigh, my fingers pressing against my temples in a futile attempt to ease the mounting tension. "What shall I do with you?" I murmured softly, my words intended more for my own ears than for his. The chime of the doorbell broke the silence, drawing me out of my reverie. A package arrived, delivered by the mailman. I signed for it, observing the mundane nature of the interaction, how life appeared so ordinary from an external perspective. Yet within, I was far from ordinary. The remainder of the day slipped away in a flurry of cleaning and cooking, a desperate attempt to ground myself in the ordinary, to evade the weighty decision that hung over me regarding Max. Each glance at him reopened the wound of betrayal, yet the love and shared history we had continued to pull at my heartstrings. As the afternoon gracefully slipped into evening, I felt the weight of a decision pressing upon me. The idea of entrusting Max to my father appeared to be a viable resolution. Yet it was tinged with a sense of guilt. Is it truly possible for me to act in such a way towards him? For us? The day drew to a close much as it had commenced, with a profound sense of solitude enveloping me in my inner strife, the burden of my hidden truth intensifying with every fleeting moment. The ordinary rhythm of life surrounding me only accentuated the peculiarity of my circumstances, creating a vivid disparity that deepened my sense of isolation. As the evening unfolded and the sun sank beneath the horizon, casting elongated shadows throughout our living room, I found myself seated on the couch, my thoughts swirling in a tempest. Max reclined at my feet, his head gently resting on his paws, gazing up at me with an expression that conveyed both confusion and concern. A wave of guilt washed over me at the mere thought of parting with him. The phone's shrill ring pierced the stillness, shattering the quietude that enveloped the room. It was indeed Sarah. For a moment, I paused, grappling with the decision to unveil this strange and harrowing chapter of my life. "Hey, Laurel, you seem a bit out of sorts. What's going on?" Sarah's voice resonated with warmth, evoking memories of more uncomplicated days. I inhaled deeply, and the words spilled forth uncontrollably. "Last night, an unusual occurrence unfolded with Max, and I find myself at a crossroads, uncertain of the path ahead." A silence lingered on the other end. "In what way is it strange?" she inquired with a hint of trepidation. I recounted the incident, my voice barely rising above a whisper, half anticipating her laughter or dismissal. In that moment, she became a vessel of understanding, her quiet presence urging me to share more. "Laurel, that resonates. Indeed, it is quite substantial. Have you considered reaching out to a veterinarian or perhaps a behavior specialist? It may not align with your expectations," Denise proposed, her voice a blend of softness and pragmatism. That hadn't crossed my mind. My thoughts were enveloped in a haze of betrayal and confusion, rendering practical solutions elusive. "I suppose I could," I conceded, a faint sense of relief washing over me at the thought of an explanation. Once the call ended, a sense of stability washed over me, yet the issue lingered on. I found it impossible to simply walk away from this. The following morning, I scheduled an appointment with our veterinarian, Dr. Ellis, for the next day. The night unfolded with an unsettling energy, brimming with visions in which Max transcended his canine existence, becoming a quiet arbiter of my choices. I awoke with a sense of unrest, as if sleep had eluded me entirely, the looming vet appointment amplifying my unease. At the veterinary clinic, Max embodied his typical amiable demeanor, his tail wagging enthusiastically as he explored the surroundings with keen curiosity. Dr. Ellis, a compassionate woman in her 50s, welcomed us with warmth. "What appears to be the issue with Max?" she inquired, her gaze sweeping over him in search of any discernible signs of unease. I laid bare the circumstances, my cheeks aflame with humiliation. Dr. Ellis absorbed the words with an open mind, her expression contemplative. "This may not be typical, Ellis, yet it certainly isn't without precedent. Dogs often display behaviors that closely resemble human actions, particularly when they find themselves in states of confusion or heightened stimulation. We should conduct a series of tests to eliminate any potential medical concerns." The examinations required a considerable amount of time. As we lingered in anticipation, I found myself in the waiting room, idly flipping through magazines, their pages blurring into a haze of unobserved words and images. My mind swirled with a tempest of possibilities and uncertainties. Upon Dr. Ellis's return, she affirmed that Max was in good health, yet proposed that his behavior could stem from a combination of stress, hormonal fluctuations, or perhaps a singular anomaly. I suggest considering neutering if it hasn't been done yet, along with exploring some behavioral training options. It could potentially provide the stability he needs. The answer appeared simple, yet it failed to wipe the event from my mind. As we journeyed back home, a blend of relief and lingering tension washed over me. Max, nestled in the back seat, appeared utterly unaware of the tempest he had unleashed in my existence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself seated with Mark, the gravity of the decision pressing down upon me. I could no longer shield him from the truth. "Mark, I have something important to share with you regarding Max." I started, my voice trembling slightly. He lifted his gaze from the laptop, worry carving lines into his expression. "What seems to be the issue?" I revealed it all to him, observing as his expressions transformed from bewilderment to astonishment, and finally settled into an inscrutable demeanor. The ensuing silence was palpable, laden with unvoiced inquiries and silent assessments. "Ellis, why did you wait so long to share this with me?" His voice carried a serene quality, yet beneath it lay a subtle trace of pain. "I find myself engulfed in a profound sense of shame, Mark. I was uncertain about your response. I bared my soul, emotions welling up, ready to overflow." He extended his hand, enveloping mine in a gentle grasp. "Together, we shall unravel this mystery. Perhaps it would be wise to examine our home environment, to identify any potential triggers for Max." The dialogue unveiled a fresh dimension in our connection. The matter extended beyond the incident with Max. It delved into the realms of trust, communication, and the silent fears we both concealed within ourselves. With the passage of time, we set forth on a journey of transformation. Max underwent neutering, and we commenced training sessions with a professional. Gradually, the ambiance within the home started to transform. Yet the incident lingered, haunting us like a specter, a poignant reminder of the delicate nature of our perceived normalcy. The unresolved tension between Clayton and me lingered, refusing to dissipate with the dawn of a new day. There existed instances of discomfort, quiet meals, and evenings spent in bed, each of us adrift in our own reflections. Yet we endeavored to grasp the essence of Max, while also mending the fractures that seemed to divide us. This situation transcended Max's actions. It was a testament to our capacity to confront unforeseen obstacles, to engage in meaningful dialogue, and to extend the grace of forgiveness. The strange betrayal had transformed into a spark for profound reflection and perhaps a more resilient connection. As the days stretched into weeks, the once soothing rhythm of our home transformed into a landscape of tension and uncertainty. Max, now neutered and under the watchful eye of a behaviorist, appeared to be finding his footing, yet the incident had etched a lasting impression on our bond that was not so readily mended. As twilight descended, following yet another quiet dinner, Clayton and I found ourselves in the living room, the television flickering softly, yet our eyes remained unengaged with its glow. The burden of our silent thoughts lingered thickly in the atmosphere. Laurel. At last, Clayton shattered the stillness, his voice barely above a whisper. Contemplation has occupied my mind. Who we are, concerning Max, concerning all matters. I pivoted to confront him, a heaviness settling in my chest. I anticipated this conversation, yet I found myself unprepared for it. What is to become of us, Mark? With a weary sigh, he ran his fingers through his hair. It seems as though we have been dwelling in the lingering shadow of past events. I'm making an effort, Laurel, yet each time my gaze falls upon Max or you, I am reminded of that night. The admission pierced through the air, a raw truth we had been skillfully avoiding. I understand, I murmured softly. I sense it as well. It feels as though we are ensnared in a moment that refuses to progress. He nodded, avoiding my gaze. I had a conversation with my brother, and he brought up a friend who might be able to take Max, a soul residing in this countryside, where there is ample room to roam, to embrace the essence of being a dog once more. The suggestion struck me with the force of a tangible impact. Parting with Max felt akin to conceding a loss, as if I were wiping away a fragment of our family tapestry. Clayton is one of us. Is it truly possible for us to simply part with him? It's not merely a matter of relinquishing him, Laurel. It's an opportunity for us to find solace, to transcend this moment without the incessant echoes of the past. Tears brimmed in my eyes, not solely for Max, but for the rift that had formed in our marriage. I believed we were collaborating on this endeavor, the preparation, the trips to the veterinarian. I believed we were working towards a solution. We are, he uttered, his voice trembling. Yet perhaps to mend it requires releasing something that continually draws us back to that instant. The space seemed to shrink, the walls encroaching upon us, heavy with the burden of our predicament. I glanced at Max, who rested silently by the fireplace, his gaze tracking our exchange with an understanding that only intensified my feelings of guilt. I need some time to think, I declared, rising suddenly to my feet. I am setting out for a stroll. The cool night air outside offered no respite from the chaos within me. I wandered without purpose, the streetlights illuminating the night with elongated shadows that reflected the depths of my own darkness. The conversation echoed in my mind, Mark's words lingering, while the unspoken plea in Max's eyes haunted me. As I settled onto the familiar bench in the park, memories of joyful afternoons spent playing fetch with Max flooded my mind. The void of the space mirrored the hollowness I experienced within. Was I being unfair to Max by considering finding him a new home? Was I, perhaps, betraying Clayton by clinging to something that could be irreparably harming our relationship? The sudden buzz of my phone jolted me from my reverie. A message arrived from Sarah. "How are you managing these days?" I responded in writing. "Uncertain. Clayton intends to part with Max," she replied swiftly. "That's quite challenging, Laurel. However, keep in mind that the focus should be on what benefits all, Max included." I remained seated, my gaze fixed on the screen, as the words swam before me, distorted by the tears that fell. The decision weighed heavily, not just for Max, but for our relationship, our trust, and the path forward together. As I made my way home, the decision hung heavily in the air, a foreboding shadow poised to break into chaos. I understood that a decision loomed before me, one that would shape not only our present circumstances, but also the very core of our family identity. As I stepped into the house, I discovered Clayton awaiting my arrival, his face a canvas of worry intertwined with determination. "Have you come to a decision?" he inquired, his tone soft and soothing. I inhaled deeply, feeling the immense burden of existence pressing down upon me. It seems imperative that we engage in a discussion about the true essence of what is best for all of us, not merely in the present moment, but with an eye toward the future. The night unfolded, our dialogue a fragile ballet of feelings, aspirations, and anxieties. The choice had yet to be made, yet the groundwork was laid for the story's crescendo, where each decision would usher in irrevocable outcomes. In the soft shadows of our living room, Mark's proposal loomed over us, heavy and palpable, like a dense fog that refused to lift. The silence enveloped the room, thick and palpable, punctuated only by the rhythmic ticking of the clock and the gentle, intermittent snoring of Max, who lay blissfully unaware on his bed beside the flickering fireplace. "I have been pondering, Laurel." Clayton spoke with a calm demeanor, yet the turmoil within him flickered in his eyes. Perhaps parting with Max isn't an act of betrayal. Perhaps it's about allowing him the opportunity to find happiness, free from the burdens of stress that surround him here. Perhaps in the end, it's about rediscovering our path to one another, free from this incessant reminder. A solitary tear slipped free, tracing a path down my cheek. Yet Mark, he is a member of our family. Our journey has been filled with countless experiences and challenges shared side by side. How can we simply choose to release him? Clayton drew nearer, his hand extending toward mine, a gesture of solace that was at once comforting and strange. I am familiar with Laurel, and I share a fondness for Max as well. Yet the fabric of our relationship, our marriage, has grown taut with tension. As I gaze upon him, memories of that night flood my mind. Your anguish and uncertainty are palpable to me. I desire a more suitable alternative to take its place, a moment of pure delight. There was an undeniable truth in his words. Our home, once a sanctuary of laughter and the uncomplicated pleasures of having pets, had transformed into a quiet arena of unspoken feelings. Yet what if we are erring in our judgment? I murmured, my voice quivering with uncertainty. What if this decision leads to regret? Clayton let out a soft sigh, enveloping me in a tender embrace. It is possible that we may. Yet, it seems we've exhausted all possibilities, haven't we? The veterinarian, the training sessions, the investment of time. And yet, here we find ourselves, still ensnared. Perhaps this extends beyond Max alone. Perhaps it revolves around us, around the healing we seek. The atmosphere felt suffocating, as if the very walls were pressing in, resonating with the weight of our choice. I glanced at Max, his tail gently thumping against the floor, his eyes mirroring a trust that pierced my heart like a knife. "I must ask you one thing," I said, drawing back to meet Mark's gaze. "Do you still hold love for me, Mark? In light of all this?" His eyes grew tender as he cradled my face in his hands. "Laurel, my love for you has remained unwavering. This journey has been challenging, yet my affection for you remains unwavering. It has only deepened my resolve to advocate for our connection." His sincere words stirred something deep within me. In that instant, a profound understanding washed over me. This was not merely about Max, but rather the essence of our future and the pursuit of our happiness. "Okay," I said, the word lodged in my throat like a heavy stone. "Let us seek out a suitable home for him. Yet, we embark on this journey as one. We ensure he embarks on a journey to a place where love awaits him, where he can embrace his true canine spirit, free from the lingering shadows of his past here." Clayton nodded, a wave of relief sweeping across his face. In unison, he consented. That night, as we lay in bed, the choice we had made lingered in the air. A whisper of betrayal, yet not in the manner I had dreaded. It was a profound betrayal of our former selves, those who were blind to the horizon beyond the immediate anguish. In this moment, we found ourselves at a crossroads, selecting a route that promised not only Max's healing, but our own as well. The following morning, we reached out to Mark's acquaintance, a gentleman by the name of John, who resided on an expansive farm. His affection for animals was well known, and his home served as a sanctuary for dogs seeking the freedom to roam and explore. We organized for Max to come by and assess whether it would be a suitable match. The journey to the farm unfolded in silence, a tapestry woven with threads of hope and sorrow. Max lounged in the rear seat, his head poking out the window, the breeze tousling his fur, blissfully oblivious to the transformative adventure unfolding around him. Upon our arrival, John welcomed us with open arms, his eyes sparkling at the mere sight of Max. John assured us that he would have free rein over the expansive grounds, gesturing toward the sprawling fields where other dogs frolicked and pursued one another with unbridled joy. As I observed Max engaging with John, his tail wagging in pure delight, a transformation stirred within me. This wasn't just letting go. It was a chance for Max to enjoy a new beginning, free to simply be a dog without the weight of our human worries. As we departed, Max lingered, embarking on the journey of his new life. The journey home unfolded in quietude, yet it was a silence tinged with a unique essence. The stillness spoke volumes, conveying a profound acceptance that, at times, love necessitates the act of release. As the months slipped by, Max settled into his new life on John's farm. The house resonated with a different energy in his absence, a stillness that seemed to amplify the void left behind. Yet, amidst it all, there lingered a buoyancy, a tranquility that had eluded them for an eternity. Every other weekend, Clayton and I found ourselves making the journey to visit Max. Every time we witnessed his flourishing spirit, his coat gleaming, his energy seemingly limitless as he dashed through the fields alongside his canine companions. The scene was tinged with a bittersweet quality. The delight in witnessing his happiness was shadowed by the melancholy of our decision. On a brisk autumn afternoon, while we lounged on John's porch, observing Max at play, I glanced over at Mark. "Have you ever found yourself wishing you had chosen differently?" I inquired, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper. He gazed at me, his eyes filled with contemplation. "I have pondered it extensively, Laurel. Initially, there was indeed a sense of regret. Yet in this moment, observing him in such a state, I am convinced we made the right choice. For him, for our benefit." I nodded, sensing the weight of truth in his words. In granting him a second chance to embrace the simplicity of being a dog, we inadvertently opened a pathway for our own healing. Clayton tightened his grip around my hand. "Indeed we did. I've found myself pondering lately. Perhaps we should begin contemplating our forthcoming chapter as well. Not solely for ourselves, but for our family as well." The term family lingered in the atmosphere, a poignant echo of our losses and a glimmer of potential gains yet to come. "What do you mean? It seems we might contemplate what lies ahead."